What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Palm City Chucks. We're talking NFL playoffs this week and recapping
Ooh,
the last week of the regular season. We're
ooh.
getting into the really fun part of the year. We do apologize for missing last week. I did a lot of travel for Christmas and New Year's. I took the drive from Wisconsin all the way back to PA. I brought Daisy with me. For those
Yeah,
of you that have been listening for a while, you know who Daisy is, and she's quite a unit.
yes.
150-pound girly. Love her to
Can
death, but that was
confirm. I got to meet Daisy. She's a unit.
did get to meet Daisy. Big part of why I brought her home. My family and Chris and my friends got to meet her and give her some love, which was great. She really had a great time. It was good being home with family and friends, and Chris and I actually got to watch football together for the first
Yeah,
time in a long time, which was really
yeah,
really awesome. So, need to be able to do more of that someday.
yes.
But let's get right into the Week 18 recap. We had some nothing burgers, some games that didn't matter at all. Some
Yeah.
teams played all their backups. Some teams played their backups when they probably shouldn't have played their
Yeah,
backups. We'll get
correct.
to that later. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Then we've got some games that were really exciting. A ton on the line. Everything to play for. And everything to play for in terms of getting in, everything to play for in terms of, hey, I need this win to allow other teams to give me a chance to get in. Well, if I
Yeah.
lose, I'm banking on somebody else. It's always so much drama. It makes Week 18 really exciting. You got draft picks and position up for grabs, which makes some of those nothing burgers also a little more exciting. Who's
Oh yeah.
trying to tank harder? You know,
Yeah. Well, and the
it's a
NFL
genuine
does
question.
such they do such a good job leaving week 18 schedule open so they can flex and move stuff around cuz I mean every important game you were able to immerse yourself in it fully, which was really nice. You didn't have too much stack action.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It's an interesting schedule last week. Two games on Saturday, the rest of the games on
Yeah.
Sunday. No Thursday night football, no Monday night football. You're finishing up with that Sunday night game, which was one of the better games of the week, which
Yeah.
as always we will save for last. But let's get
Yes.
right into it with our Saturday games here. First one, let's talk about this Panthers Bucks game. NFC South title not up for grabs from this game alone unless the Panthers won. Panthers win, NFC South has decided they are getting
Hmm.
into the playoffs. However, that is not how this one ended up. The Bucks win this one at home, snap their losing streak, finish 8-9, same as the Panthers, and they've got to wait for the results of the Saints Falcons game later, which we'll recap in a bit. But let's talk a little bit about this game first. The Bucks get out to a pretty hot start here in the first quarter. They go up 10-0. Looks like it might be a little bit of a rout. Then we get to the second quarter. Panthers fire back, make it 10-7, getting closer. Uh, Buccaneers kick a few more field goals. Panthers score another touchdown. This game then 16-14 in favor of the Bucks. What'd you think of this game, man? I thought the Panthers
Well,
were underwhelming knowing what was on the line.
yeah, for real. And this is a Panthers team that seemed to rise up against the better opponents or, whatever you want to say, tougher games. It seemed like you were getting the best version of the Panthers. And here in this one, a win and you're in. Yeah, it was lackluster. It was slow out of the gates, like you said. And I thought they were making a crucial mistake. And they were constantly poking Baker's buttons, like just riling him up, pissing him off. I thought they were going to get smacked in this. Like the fact that ended 16-14, like that's a win for them because I thought they were going to get torched. They just kept picking at him, late hits, all kinds of stuff to, get him going, just jawing at him too. Um, but
And
yeah, I
Baker's
thought I
not the
thought that
guy
was
you
going
want
to
to do
bite.
that with,
Nah,
in
you
my
don't.
opinion.
I agree. I said it as I'm watching. I'm like, what are they doing? This is not the guy you want to do that to. Like he's going to enter Baker mode, which didn't really ever happen. I think this game was pretty telling, even though the Bucks did win. Just kind of their season in a nutshell, like injuries, and I think Baker. It's pretty well documented. He's played like 95% of this season hurt, and I think we saw that in his play, but the team itself just really banged up and just not the Bucks team of old that, really were starting to look like a force. Um, but yeah, they managed to get this done, and like you said, they needed some help, and yeah, which we'll get to later. Didn't work out for them, but yeah, they did their part. They had to get the win there, and they got it done. But yeah, it wasn't very pretty.
Yeah, I mean it's very tough season for these Buccaneers here. Maybe one of the most, if not the most, underwhelming teams in the league this year.
Yeah,
My Lions are right up there
I
as
mean,
well,
up
for
up
sure.
until this game, like 1-7 in their last 8 or something. So now two
Yeah,
and
they've been
seven in their
terrible.
last 9. Like they just totally tanked this season away. And even through all that in this last week, had a shot. It just did not go their way.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm happy for the Panthers and Panthers fans. They have been through it. Their teams were terrible. They looked to be heading in the right direction. I certainly didn't see them winning the NFC South this year, and they won the division, sure. 8-9 record, so we'll put a little asterisk there by how good of a team they were, but they still get that division title. They can hang
Yeah.
that banner if they want, and it is definitely a marked improvement off of
Oh
where they
yeah.
were at last year. I think I could have maybe seen them finishing with this record. I probably would have gone a game or two lower, like 6 to 7 wins is probably what I would have said. Um, Maybe that is what I said. I can't remember if we gave records at the beginning of the year or
Yeah.
not, but. Um, 8-9, feasible. Didn't think they could win the division with this, especially with the Buccaneers in this division, the team that I predicted would win the NFC and take the
Oh
one
yeah.
seed. Clearly, I
Yep.
was way, way wrong about that.
Well, you weren't
So
alone. I had them at the 2 seed. I thought this team was going to be special, and honestly, we don't really know because they were never all healthy. They were never all playing one cohesive unit. So, I mean, we could have been right.
I just hope, even though it was a bit of an injury riddled last year, I hope this isn't the last that we have seen of Mike Evans. That would truly feel like a pain to a childhood hero, though Mr. 1000, who
Yeah.
unfortunately did not get there this year. The streak
Yeah.
does come to an
Yeah.
end.
And what, 5
Um,
games or whatever?
yeah. Yeah, he only needed to average 200, bro. Come on, man. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I did the math
He
when
can
he
do
came
that.
back. It was stupid. He needed like pretty much that. It was like 225 a game or something nuts. Like, yeah, it just was never gonna
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, what an amazing career he's had, and I agree. I'd hate to see him go out that way. He's got to go out with 1,000. Come on now.
I hope so. I hope so. I think he's got another year in the tank, but I think he's a candidate that could explore
Totally.
retirement, especially
Yeah,
after a season like this and the injuries that he
they're
did
adding
take
up.
on.
I mean, he's dealt with injuries the last few years. It's just there weren't any that sidelined him the amount of time that this year's did. But yeah, I hope he comes back.
We'll see. We'll talk about more in the off season. But for now, let's move on to the second Saturday night game. We have the Seahawks taking on the 49ers here in what was a very different game from what I expected, finishing 13-3 in favor of the Seahawks. The Seahawks officially wrap up. Actually, they did that last week, I should say. But, 14-3, great record, tied for the
Oh
best in the NFL, one seed in the NFC. But I didn't expect this to be a total score 16-point game here.
yeah.
This Seahawks defense dominated this 49ers
Oh
team,
yeah.
man. Absolutely dominated. But the 49ers defense, for their credit, ever since they lost Fred Warner, haven't struggled as much as I thought that they would.
Yeah.
They played really
Especially
well.
as
The
of
Seahawks
late.
team is good. Oh yeah, especially as of late. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting. Sam Darnold and them going to the playoffs, being the team to beat in the NFC, I think many would argue.
Yeah. I mean, that defense is no joke. It all boils down to Darnold. What kind of Darnold are you going to get in the postseason? What's he going to do when the pressure's at its highest? I mean, we've seen in the past, as recent as last year, he loses the playoff game to Detroit in a horrible fashion, and then he plays the Rams in the first round of playoffs and loses that pretty much the same way. Uh, that's really gonna be what it boils down to. I think if they had a guy that was, calm and cool under pressure, which is easier said than done in this league. I mean, there's not many quarterbacks really with that dog in them. But if they had that, there's no doubt in my mind they'd be the favorite in the NFC. But Darnold just really worries me. But as far as a complete team, I mean, it's probably the best team in the NFC. If not, I'd probably give it to the Rams. And they do have a guy who has that dog. So I'm
Oh,
curious to
yes.
see what kind of run they can go on too. But yeah, regardless, there's some good ass teams in the playoffs this year, and it's real exciting. I mean, we're right there, baby. We're gonna get the action. Although we won't be seeing the
Yeah, I mean,
Seahawks this week.
we will not be seeing the Seahawks this week. That is correct. And you said that you might give the best team in the NFC to the Seahawks. I think I might give the best three teams in the NFL to the NFC West, personally. I think I might have to go Seahawks, Rams, 49ers. I don't think that I'm
Yeah,
putting the Pats or the Broncos ahead of any of them. I think I'd put them 4 or 5, but I don't think I can put them above any of those three NFC teams right now.
yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, you're not wrong. I don't disagree. I've kind of hinted at it, and I know I've said it about the Broncos and Pats at some point on the pod here, but their records are tremendous. They do have a good team, but I think they're kind of fake, and they're not destined for a deep playoff run. But yeah, those three teams you mentioned, I think can. Um, but that being said, I'm not so convinced by the Niners, but Seattle and the Rams, I think, are far and away the best
You
teams in
just
the
have
NFL
to
this
tell
year.
yourself that. You
No,
just
no,
have to tell
seriously, I
yourself
don't.
that for next week. Yeah.
Dude,
All
revert
right, we'll
to
talk about
past
that.
episodes on the pod. I'd be shitting on the
I
Niners.
know.
This is a known thing.
Yeah, but you were just objectively wrong. You hate the Niners, and you were just objectively wrong for them to finish 12-5, and they were playing really well, especially after Kittle came back. I mean, I think you're just wrong here. But let's
They
press
have been,
pause.
they
Let's press
certainly,
pause. Pause. Let's talk
I have
about last week's
paused.
games. We will get back to this. All right. I need a
All
visual confirmation. All right. Let's go. Moving on to the Sunday's games here. Got to talk about these first, then we can shoot the shit about the playoff games and why you're wrong about that. Um, Colts Texans. I know. I just had to get one less kick in there.
You make
But
it
anyways,
impossible
Colts
to stay
Texans.
quiet.
It's kind of the point, my guy. Colts Texans. This one finished. This was a crazy game. I did not expect this at all. The Texans had something to play for, seeding in the playoffs here. The
Oh yeah,
5 or 6 seed, right here, and whew, Colts gave them a run for their money with Riley Leonard, and gotta give my flowers to Alec Pierce, who
yeah,
absolutely destroyed this Houston Texans secondary, a team that you and I both have said might be the best defense in the NFL. And this
yeah,
Colts team, with nothing to play for anymore, Riley Leonard at quarterback, torched them. Torched them. Leonard actually had quite a good game as well. But this Texans end up pulling it out 38-30, getting the win that they needed. But whew, this Colts team made it a
yeah.
fun watch.
They did, and not to make it too off-season oriented, but Alec Pierce is going to get a bag. He had a
He's
very,
gonna get a
very
bag.
good season. It might not be from the Colts, but a bag will surely be handed out. Um, but yeah, that game was not what I expected either. I mean, I thought the Colts, you lost Phillip now, and season's done. You've already been eliminated. I wasn't sure we'd see this kind of fight, but it was nice that we did. And division rivalry, it's not too surprising they put up a good fight like this. But if it was going to be a close game, I wouldn't expect it to be this high scoring just because of how good that Texans defense is. But certainly they poked some holes in them, putting up 30 with Riley Leonard. So curious to see what kind of adjustments are made before the postseason, because if this defense isn't going to perform, the Texans are not going to go very far. They need that defense.
Oh, I agree. I agree. They absolutely have to. But let's move on to an NFC East matchup here. We got the Cowboys taking on the Giants, and it's always a joy to see the Cowboys lose. I do appreciate that. Not quite as much as the Eagles, but I do love seeing the Cowboys
All
lose
right.
as well.
I thought we were finally getting some common ground.
I just had to reverse it, put her in reverse for a second. Then we got the Giants here, and my girlfriend's dad is a Giants fan, and he was pissed about this game. Could not believe the Giants hung 34 on the Cowboys and won this game, moving the Giants even farther down in the draft pecking order.
Oh yeah,
It was hilarious. I
it's
thought it was
fitting.
awesome.
Yeah,
It is
that's
fitting.
kind of the way they do it, man. I mean, we saw it last year too. They won the last week
It's
of the
true.
season last year to hurt their draft. But yeah, it's awesome to see the Cowboys get shellacked like that. So I'll take it. And yeah, I mean, I always want the Cowboys to lose, although it does help their draft pick, which kind of sucks. But whatever.
That's true.
They're
It
gonna
was
pick an
kind of a
offensive lineman with the first name Tyler, and we'll move on.
I know Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, who's next? Tyler James, who knows? Um, Now we got an AFC North matchup here. Another game without much implications for either team outside of draft position. The Browns and the Bengals. Browns pull this one out 2018. Now, you might hear 20 points for the Browns. They had to score at least one offensive touchdown, right? Nope.
Nope.
Absolutely not. Two defensive touchdowns, a 97-yard, I might mix these up, but 97-yard interception return, I believe, and like a
Mhm.
50-yard fumble return. Something like that. It might have flipped those two, but really hilarious. Shadur, of course, didn't play great. You're expecting way too much from Shadur if you thought he was going to actually help this team win, bro.
Yeah.
The Bengals dropping this game. I was surprised. I was surprised
Yeah, I
that
was
they
too.
dropped this game here,
I was
and it
also
leads.
a little surprised they let Miles Garrett get his sack. I
I
thought it was going to be
know.
similar to the Steelers, if not even worse, because I mean, the Bengals are eliminated. Just do not let him get that sack. And it did come late in the game, but he is now the record holder for most sacks in a season. And before you say what you want to say, I got to pull this up because I thought
Are you
this
gonna
was
look at
very
snaps?
interesting. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
I'm gonna read it for
Now here.
our Palm City Chuckers, but me and AJ were in agreement here that you get that extra game. There's kind of got to be an asterisk next to it. This kind of changed my view on it. So when Strahan got to 22 and a half, he had 567 snaps. When TJ Watt tied it, he had 616 snaps. Miles Garrett gets a record this year at 23 sacks. He only didn't, and he did it in only 437 snaps. So a full 130 less snaps than Strahan, and even more under Watt. So it's extremely impressive, but I still like kind of holding on to that game thing because
Oh, I absolutely hold on to the game thing. If the snaps thing is a very cool stat. Yeah, it doesn't even really show anything because you would need to look at how many of those snaps did those other two guys rush on? How many did they drop back to pass on? There's a lot of nuance that we'd have to dig into that, right? And to
it's fair.
me, that just shows that while Miles Garrett is an insane pass rusher, how often do you see him drop back into coverage?
Never,
I
but
take that as
Strahan
one of those
didn't
things
either.
where Strahan didn't either. I'm talking more TJ Watt here, to be honest with you. But because especially back in the old days, like the defensive end position is so different than it was back then
Right.
when
And even
Strahan
as
played.
recent as Strahan, like they weren't passing as much back then either.
Yeah,
So that's
so
another
less
factor.
opportunities
Right.
on snaps. But to me, I just take it as like Miles Garrett wasn't the right player to be on the field for that many snaps, or he needed more breaks because he went that much harder on his pass rush snaps. Who knows? Maybe they were just giving him more breathers, seeing how their season was going. Sure, that's a possibility, but I still take it as a by game basis. Availability is
The,
important,
yeah,
and
it's the
not
best
not not
ability.
injury wise. Exact. That's what I was trying to think,
I
but my
know, I
brain
know.
just
I saw the gears.
lost it. Yeah, they were turning, but they got a little stuck. There was a little bit of gunk in there. Post holiday cleanse we're
Yeah,
working on,
there you
we'll
go.
call it. But yeah, so that didn't change much for me. I did think that it was a very cool stat, and it just goes to show Myles Garrett is clearly a very effective rusher.
Oh
There
yeah.
is no questioning that. However, in my mind, still TJ. Still TJ for me. Um, the record books will show Myles Garrett. That's just simply how it is. But it's TJ for me. Um, should have got it last week, man. That's all I'm saying. You had a chance. You went sackless.
Yep.
But with that, and with this Browns win, at least Kevin Stefanski got to go out on a high note, as he has now been fired by the
Yep.
Cleveland Browns. Very curious to see which direction this team goes, because this head coach hire really, really, really matters for the Browns. Not just in terms of turning them around, but fitting in with the personalities and personnel decisions there, especially at quarterback. You got Deshaun coming back. You got Shadur in there, who is
Yeah.
a big personality. You got Dylan Gabriel, who's still going to be there in the second year. So I think probably more so than any of the other teams who we'll briefly mention later, and probably throughout talking about them, that needs a new coach. I think the Browns, it might be the most important to get it right. But let's move on to the Saints Falcons game, the game we mentioned slightly earlier. What made the decision for who from the NFC South gets to represent them in the playoffs? Who is the division winner? Saints win this game. Buccaneers. Falcons win this game. Panthers. Falcons end up winning this one 19-17 in what was a close game. Maybe one of Kirk's last games. I think we're
Yeah.
truly getting to that point. So love to see him get a win here in case we're getting anywhere close to that being a discussion that he has with his family. I think some of my biggest takeaways are Tyler Shuck absolutely has bought himself a year as the Saints starter. He allows them to not need to reach or even think about drafting a quarterback this year, in my opinion. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really, really important for them. Whether or not he's the long-term answer, I still don't know yet. I'm certainly not as hard of a no as I was earlier in the
Yeah.
year, but I still can't say that I think he is. But he did look impressive coming down the stretch here.
Yeah.
He won them a lot of games. We'll see. Now, another coach going out on a win here, Raheem Morris. And they also got rid of their GM, Arthur Smith, saying the results just weren't good enough. And I agree. I think Raheem Morris has done a terrible job with this team. And I don't think that he is that great of a coach, to be honest with you. I think we talked about it on the pod last season, but his time management and in-game
Oh
management
yeah.
is horrendous. It
Mm-hmm.
is it might be, or was, I should say, at this point, the worst in the league, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So I'm not surprised that he got the boot here. This was a firing that I think I expected. So that's kind of fun. But Falcons pull this one out 19-17, sending the Panthers to the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I think it was a fair move to get rid of Raheem Morris. Um, I mean, 2, 8, and 9 seasons, not terrible, but when you look at the talent on the roster, specifically the offensive side, this is pretty good. And they addressed some needs on defense too in the draft. They got the 2 edge rushes in the first round, and they played pretty well too. Which kind of made me a little puzzled about the GM move because I do agree Morris it was time to go, but yeah, the GM I feel like hasn't done a terrible job. He's brought in some good talent, um, in free agency as well. I mean, they got Bates who's responsible for just about every good defensive play that team has, and yeah, I thought did a decent job in the draft. Um, I mean, granted, they did give up capital to make that move, including a first round pick this year that is now going to the Rams. But they got the 4 game winning streak to close out the season, made that pick a little worse. Worse for the Rams anyway. It was looking like that was a terrible trade because the Rams were at the time like the best team in the NFL, and the Falcons were like a top 5 pick in the draft, so it was looking quite terrible, but it's kind of evened itself out a bit. But yeah, just a little surprise on the GM move. And it's just always interesting when you have major change like that. which again, we'll more off-season talk. We'll get to that in future episodes. But what direction do they want to go in? Because they're a team that's not so far away. I mean, they have a lot of things in place, but they also still have a lot of question marks, and including the
It,
quarterback position.
yeah, it's just that they've screwed themselves because they don't have a first rounder this year, so they absolutely have to stick with Penix
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
next
Oh,
year
it's a
unless they go out and get
whoever
another
takes over as GM and head coach, they're in a tough spot.
oh yeah, it's not I think they're going to struggle to find a primo candidate to go there for both positions. I don't think
Yeah.
it's a team that anybody really wants to touch right now, given their current situation, both roster and um and draft
Draft
capital.
capital. Yeah.
Not a ton to build from, but we'll see. I like their defense actually. I do like their defense. AJ Terrell,
Yeah.
Bates, James Pierce, Jalen Walker. So I think they've got some pieces on defense. So that might be something to entice a defensive minded guy thinking, okay, if we can do just enough on offense, I know, it'll make this defense really solid. There's some potential there, but we'll see. We shall see. But let's move on to an NFC North matchup. Here we have the Packers traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And something that could be seen from a mile away, the Vikings win this one, finishing the season at 9-8, just a half game outside of the Packers, who finished 9-7-1. Same as the Lions, finishing at 9-8. And the result of this game and last week's game really pissed me off for the Packers because they did indeed lose out, and the Lions couldn't do what they needed to do. Pick it in. We'll talk more about them later. I've got a little bit of a rant to go on, but that is fine. Vikings winning this one, going 9-8. It's probably a reasonable record for them, given how good their defense was. But they have got a lot of problems to solve on offense. One thing I don't mind about this is that their draft pick is now not great. It's high teens, early 20s, high teens, I think. It's definitely not early 20s. That's not even possible. But high teens, I believe. And I think this is what I wish, maybe not what I think, but I hope that they think that they've got enough on offense, but they just need to make a few tweaks and changes, and they'll be good enough. They certainly won't be. They have got to get off of 9. McCarthy has got to go, and I don't think they're going to. I think going 9-8, I just don't think that they're going to move on from him. I don't see them taking a quarterback in this year's draft, so I love that he's going to get another run at starting. Makes me
Yeah.
feel better about the Lions' bounce back chances, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's fair, and I think you're right. I think it's not that he did enough, but yes, the team has done enough where they're going to think they're not so far away. But yeah, I agree. He's going to get another chance. I mean, he had a winning record as starting QB for them, and yeah, I mean he's young, so they're going to expect growth as well. And I think they'll probably get some. I just agree with you where I don't think it'll be enough where he's their guy for the future, but I think they will certainly roll him out again as a starting QB for next year.
Yep. All right, let's move on to what was just an absolute thrashing. Not too much to say here. Titans taking on the Jaguars. Jaguars winning this one 41-7. I think quick note about the Titans is, well, they're another team that fired their head coach, so just get that out there.
Yeah.
Cam Ward looked decent to start this game, hurts his shoulder a little bit, comes out of the game. Does finish the season with 15 touchdowns, which is better than the projection that he had about halfway through the year. So he did finish the year strong, and he gives them strong might be a bit of a stretch, but much better than how he started and gives them hope that he can continue to grow. I think he showed them that there is definitely the potential there that he can get closer to what they expected him to be when they did draft him. So I think that's the one real positive for the Titans here. This Jags team, I mean, oh my goodness, they're just I did not expect a 13-4 season out of them, to be honest, man. I could have seen like 10, 11 wins. I definitely did not see 13. They absolutely ran that AFC South division. Trevor Lawrence had a really really good year. That defense is playing super solid, and
Yeah.
they're a force to be reckoned with
Oh
come these
yeah.
playoffs, man.
I mean, heading into this week, the 1 seed wasn't out of the question. Like, if a few things went their way, they literally could have been the one in the AFC. I mean, just a phenomenal season and very, very good on both sides of the ball. One of the few teams that really have that going for them. There's a lot of inconsistent teams in these playoffs. There's a lot of defensive strong, offensively inconsistent teams. The Jags have both firing, and they've had it all year.
Yeah, no, that's so true, man. You're not wrong at all. So we'll see what they can do next week. They've got a tough matchup in this wild
They
card
do.
round,
I'm
which we'll
pissed
talk more
about it.
about
We'll
later, but
we'll
it's a
get to
tough
it later,
matchup.
but I'm freaking fired up about that.
Yeah. It should be a great game though, and for a
It
wild card
should,
game.
but that damn it. I'll wait.
I know. I know. It's tough. It's tough. Gotta hold it in. A lot of pausing today on the pod. We're just so excited about the playoffs and
Yeah.
what comes next. But let's talk about the Lions. Fuck the Lions. Is really just my takeaway. Right
That was
now.
the
I
tangent?
mean, so I wanted them to lose because they're already eliminated from the playoffs. It wasn't possible for them coming into this week. At that point, I just want them to get better capital. I can't say like I'll sit here and complain ever watching my team win. I'm certainly not that guy. But I wouldn't have minded if they lost and bettered their draft position. That would have been kind of nice. To add, we went 2-4 in the division this year, sweeping the division winning Bears and dropping 4 games to the Packers and the Vikings. What the fuck are we doing? That is horrendous. You just needed to win one of those other 4 games. One. And you are in the playoffs right now. So the results of this week 18 just made the what ifs for the Lions so much freaking worse. It was horrible to sit there and just see all the scenarios they could have. If they just win one more division game. And finishing last in this division is horrendous. Because here's the reality. Curious for your take on this. I still think that the Lions, regardless of how this year played out, I think the Lions are the most talented team in the NFC North. And they finished fourth. Dead fucking last.
Yeah.
So many things went wrong. It is so depressing. So depressing. So
It,
depressing.
I mean, it sucks. You're right. I do agree. I think they're the most talented roster in the North. But I mean, they're last with a winning record. Like
Yeah.
it's just it was not as stacked as last year's, but kind of was at the same time because you didn't have the Bears dragging it down. I mean, it was a good division. I think you have a lot of good points and you're getting swept by the Vikings and Packers. You can't let that happen any year, no matter what, even if you suck. You can't get swept in the division. Like that's the leg you stand on, that's the hill you
Especially
die
when you
on.
beat the division winner two
Yeah,
times.
twice.
Both
Yeah,
times.
both
Like,
times.
come
Yep.
on. That is
And
pathetic.
in pretty like score 1916 doesn't really give it justice. I mean, it kind of came down to the wire late, but you had the Bears shut out for like almost this whole game. Like you pretty
Yeah, I
much
know.
dominated.
It was 16-0 for a long while.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it's frustrating, and we talked about it before the pod started tonight. But there's quite a few teams in the NFC that were so close to getting in that are a team that's better than teams that are in this. And the Lions are certainly one of those, and I mentioned the Bucks as well. But I think I mean it's kind of just the beauty of the NFL. You're just on the wrong side of it this year. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
any given Sunday, and it's all that shit. And yeah, it didn't fall your way. But as far as talent, I mean, hell, we're talking about the North. You're still probably a top 5 talented team in the whole NFL, and you didn't make playoffs. Like
Uh,
that's the shit, man. But yeah, it's a shame. But you know, the Lions are not far away. A lot of people think their window was 2 years ago or last year even, and it's shutting. But I truly don't think you're too many moves away from totally being in the mix again.
Oh, I don't think we're people that think that I think are just ridiculous and so
I
used to the
agree.
Lions being bad and think that this is just a flash in the pan. That's
Yeah,
certainly not the projection that the Lions are on by any means. This
yeah,
offense is going to be steadily good for a long time. Now, where we face some questions is can we rebeast the offensive line a little bit? That does need to happen. And can we get healthy on the defensive side of the ball?
yeah.
That has,
What's that? You just never know. And you've said it before, and I agree. It starts with your draft. Like, stop trying to get the steal because this guy's injured or whatever. Like, draft healthy players and let's start their career healthy, and we'll roll the dice then.
no, 100%. But I mean, good for Bears fans getting the second seed, winning the North. It's been a long while, a long time coming. Ben Johnson is that guy. We know that. Well, at least I knew that, and I think all of the NFL knows that now. That Ben Johnson just really he is that dude. Such a great coach. Such a great coach. Sucked to see him go. And in good news, Lions did fire John Morton, so thank goodness for that. Can't have an offensive coordinator that's no longer calling your plays after
Right.
week 5. So there's that. I'm very curious to see who we bring in, but we'll save that for a future episode because right now I don't have a lot of ideas, and there's definitely going to be some more coordinators that move.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
everybody's gone quite
right.
yet. It's a little
Yeah,
too
there's
soon for
a
that.
lot more that needs to shake out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Lions disappointing season. Glad it's over. On to the next for me and them. Well, let's move on to an NFC West matchup here. You have the finishing 3-14 Cardinals dropping this one 20-37 to the Rammies. Rams looked really, really good. We talked about that. Two major points I want to make here is what do the Cardinals do? I mean, Gannon's out. That's another head coach that has already been ousted. We know there's no way Kyler Murray returns to this team. I really
Yeah.
don't think so. And the real major point, what do they do about this whole Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson situation that they got going on here? Because that's a really interesting one. Because Michael Wilson balled this year,
Yeah.
man, when he got
Every
the
time
opportunities.
Harrison missed,
Absolutely balled.
balled out. Which
Yep. So
it
it's
may
very
be as
interesting.
it may be as simple as just switching their positions almost. Like I don't know what's going on. Like is Wilson running X when Harrison's out, and he's normally running Y when Harrison's in, and when he's X he's popping off. Like I don't know if it's as simple as that, or if they need to maybe reassess Harrison and see what they got to do there. I mean, it is just 2 years. We know receivers sometimes it takes a few years. It's not like other positions where you are what you are right away. Sometimes there needs to be some development there. So I think they just kind of ride it out another year. I think after that third year, you can really judge Harrison Jr. and see what you need to do. You got to move him. You got to just
Yeah.
let him ride out his rookie contract and let him sign elsewhere, or what. But first things first, they got to get a damn quarterback.
That's that's true. I mean, hey, run Brisket back, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, yeah,
Run Brisket back. Give the man a starting gig. But to your Marvin Harrison point here, I mean, to pull a Quentin Johnson, everybody was out on Quentin Johnson after his first two
yeah,
two
it
years, and
happens.
he popped.
Receivers,
Yeah,
yeah,
it does. And I will say for me personally, I still think there is a very good player in there in Marvin Harrison Jr. I do not think that he will ever live up to the draft capital or the hype that surrounded
yeah,
him when he came into the league. However, I do still think there is a very good player in there.
yeah. I would
Now,
agree.
the one thing I want to say about the Rammies is I'm glad that Stafford had a great game, throwing for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
And for me, Matty Stafford is the MVP. Give this man his MVP, bro. Please, please give me one positive on the year. One positive,
yeah,
and it is this man getting an MVP. I love this guy.
yeah. I mean, you're probably gonna get your way. I will say.
I hope
I,
so. If Drake May gets this shit, I'm gonna be so goddamn pissed.
I won't
Ridiculous.
be
He had a good
pissed,
year.
honestly. I was there, but then when Stafford had his second egg, I am honestly okay with it either way. But
I'm not.
I do think what Stafford did is amazing, especially given his age. I just wonder
Look,
if that's something they should even factor in because they shouldn't give a
you
shit
got to
how
look at
old you
strength of
are.
schedule. Well, no, you got to look at strength of schedule. What's the quality of the teams that you're playing? And even with Stafford playing much better teams, he performed overall better, even with the eggs, which I'll agree did happen, and they were bad.
I 100% agree with you there, but do you look at roster talent? Because Stafford has night and day a better offense than what Drake May's been given.
I guess. I mean, I guess that's possible. Yeah, I guess that's a fair argument, but I'm still going Matty Stafford
And
all day. There's
I
definitely
agree
like a
that,
little bit of bias here, but taking the bias out, I still think he 100%
yeah,
deserves it.
and I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate. I want Stafford to get it. I think
Yeah.
he deserves it. Um, but yeah, it's just May, and as far as strength of schedule, that one always kind of bothers me because you don't pick your schedule. I mean, at the same time, you kind of do just based on the year prior, but
I
it's just
I use it
it's
more
not
as a
something you should hold against a team. But at the same time, it should be used to benefit a team. Like I don't think we should hold it against May, but you can use it as a boost for Stafford because
that's
what he
see
went up
that's more the
against is
angle that
pretty
I'm coming
crazy.
in from is like not necessarily that because you're right, you can't hold it against Drake May what his schedule was, but I use it more as of a comparison point of May played really well with this strength of schedule, but still finished with less yards and touchdowns than Matty Stafford, who played against a much tougher
Yeah.
strength of schedule. So that's really more of the angle that I'm coming in from, rather than we need to discount everything that Drake May did. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I don't know cuz like the stats ended up being fairly close. Like Stafford was way ahead in yards, and I think that one evened out a bit. Touchdowns, he still has them by a good bit, and I think they have the same picks now. But May also uses his legs a bit. Stafford doesn't. I don't know. It should be a tight race, and I definitely hope Stafford gets it, but I do not know.
I think
After
I
that
think if
second
May
egg, I
gets it,
think it totally left it up in the air.
I think that if May gets it, it is because people are out on Stafford because he's going out of the league here soon. I think that would be the primary trip. Not that, and that's not to say that May doesn't deserve it at all. Made a lot of points on why he
That's
could.
interesting. I would think Stafford being done soon would benefit his odds of getting it. May has 10 seasons left. He can get his MVP next year or the year after that, whatever. Stafford, you have years, maybe three left. If you even want them, you could be done after this year. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I do want my boy Matty Stafford to get it though. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It'll be a good race.
I mean, so I just did a quick check here. Passing yards, 4,700 Matty Stafford, 4,400 Drake May. So close, but still 300 yards in between. Touchdowns is really
He's
touchdowns
got
and
him by
interceptions is
10 or
really what
something.
does it for me. 15. Got him by
15.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be
That
enough
is a
to
significant
yeah.
amount. 46 passing touchdowns for Matthew Stafford. The next closest guy in the league, 34.
Wow.
And that's Jared Goff, by the way. Um, but yeah, so 46. That's really the, like
That's the one.
consistency.
That's the
Yeah,
stat that really
that's the stat.
separates them for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. But we'll see. I'm excited to see what happens there. But let's move on. We have the Chargers taking on the Broncos. The Chargers accepting where they were going to be coming into this week, playing Trey Lance at quarterback. The Broncos still having a possibility of the one seed, of course, played their starters here. Underwhelming, in my opinion, given the level of effort and players that the Chargers played in this game. Broncos winning 19-3, securing the one seed, but didn't really play well.
Yeah.
None of them really played well. And I think my biggest takeaway for the Chargers is Trey Lance is horrible. Oh my, he is terrible, terrible. It was
That's
good to give him.
funny.
It's nice to see like week 18 is kind of fun sometimes because you get to see some of these guys who might not get a lot of opportunities and maybe are younger and struggled. Like this is like Trey Lance. This is a good spot for him to, if he pops off, maybe he gets an opportunity to be a starter for a team that's looking for a bridge, or he gets a better backup situation where it's a true competition, or they're liable to switch in the middle of the year type of situation, not sitting behind Justin Herbert. He cemented himself as a back end backup, maybe even push back to third string with this performance. Under 50% completion percentage. It was overall just horrible performance for him. But Broncos win this one 19-3, secure the 1 seed in the AFC. Chargers
Yeah,
finishing 11-6, getting the 7 seed as well.
I don't understand the Chargers even having Lance, honestly. They had freaking Heineke as a backup at one point. Like, how do you let that go? That's all you need. That's all you should ever want for a backup. Like, I don't know how you let that
Heineke's
walk
playoff
because,
run,
oh, it was
awesome.
magical. But, it's just, it's got to be Lance's legs and just the youth, which even that's running out. He's already, what, 4 years in? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's not looking good for him at all. He did look fairly decent in the preseason, but here against a starting defense going up against the ones, and it is the Broncos who at times are a top three defense, other times not so much. But um, yeah, you get him on a bad day. I could see the struggle there, but yeah, it just really makes no sense why he's even a backup for any team, in my opinion. But maybe this will get teams on board.
maybe. We shall find out. But let's move to the other two AFC West teams here. The Chiefs taking on the Raiders. The Raiders who wanted to lose this game so badly, sitting Max Crosby, who posted his video playing his basketball. Interesting enough, he is actually having off-season surgery,
Yeah.
so it gives a little bit of credence to what the Raiders were doing. I'm not so sure. I feel like it was probably the smart decision given their situation, and Max Crosby just really wanted to play.
Yeah.
I think is my takeaway, given the fact that he is actually having an off-season surgery to repair some stuff and get some stuff done. But he just wanted to play. But given their situation, probably the smart decision not to risk anything else. But the Raiders win this one, 14-12. And you know what? Good for them. They get to finish the season on a high note and still maintain the number one pick in this year's upcoming
Yeah.
NFL draft. I think the Chiefs wanted to lose. I didn't actually get to watch the end of this one live, but I was following on my phone and the ESPN app, and Raiders had to kick a field goal to win this one at the buzzer here. And I think the Chiefs threw this with their in-game management on purpose. 17 seconds left, if I was following this correctly. The Raiders are trying to drive down the field, getting around to, I think it was the Kansas City 42. And the Chiefs called the timeout to stop the clock. Very interesting.
Collusion.
Very, very interesting decision there. And the Chiefs having this good of a draft pick is also
It's
very
terrifying.
interesting. Because Patty Mahomes is going to be out for the majority of next season, probably,
Yep.
maybe all, depending on how they do while he is out. Do they bring in to cover for him, especially because Minshew also is going
done.
to be out for
Yeah.
a
Trey
foreseeable
Lance.
future.
Bring him over.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring in Trey Lance. So if you really think about it, the Chiefs could have 2 years in a row of top half, close
Yeah,
to top
it's
10
scary.
draft picks, and that is scary.
It's
Add that to a
terrifying.
Patrick Mahomes-led team.
How many
Woo.
times we got to see? Like we've seen this story before in other sports too. Like it sucks. It absolutely sucks. Like the Colts, you have Peyton Manning forever, and then he leaves. You suck ass. You get Andrew Luck. Like no turnaround.
Yep.
You have like one down year. You
Stupid
get a new
Packers.
stud. And yeah, I mean, we see it all the time in sports, and this is what's going to happen with the Chiefs. And to your point, it's going to happen 2 years in a row. So they're going to bring in a lot of talent. Mahomes has already stapled himself as one of the best QBs ever. So that's always going to be a destination for players to want to play with him. So that's not a factor here either. They're going to be able to bring in any talent at any point. So yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks that they're
no,
going to have 2 years of great picks.
yeah, I'm curious to see which direction they go, which will be interesting. I am excited to in the offseason talk about the draft with you because I
Oh
think this
yeah.
one is really interesting because I'm not super high on a ton of the talent in this year's draft, so I think it makes it very interesting to see what teams do in a year like that.
It's trench
But let's
time,
move on.
baby.
Yeah, I know we got a couple of games left from this Week 18. First one, we've got the Dolphins taking on the Patriots. Patriots wiped them 38-10 here. Was this Mike McDaniel's last game coaching the Miami Dolphins? First question
No,
for you.
no. They turned it around. I'm standing by it. I said it a few weeks ago on the pod, but he revived this team. It seems to me, and I hate to give the guy shit, especially if it's not true, but it seems to me Tyreek was kind of a cancer for this team. He goes down, and it seemed a lot of their problems went away. They were competitive in games. They're a few plays away from having damn near a winning record this year, and I
Yeah,
give a lot of that credit to McDaniel, keeping this group together and bouncing them back. We mentioned all off season and beginning weeks of the year how we thought this locker room was falling apart. He didn't have their respect or whatever it was, and it seems he's glued them kind of together. And on top of it all, I think he's one of the better offensive minds in the league. So I think they should give him another shot. And if they do can him, he probably does get hired as a coach again. I don't see him going immediately back to being an OC, but yeah, I think they
yeah.
should. I think they should keep him another year, but who knows?
I think they will. I think that he'll get another year. I think he earned it, and they already fired the GM. And I think if they were going to make a change at the head coaching position for next year, I think both would have gone at the same time, so
Yeah,
they could try to pair two people who they thought could work well together at the same time
good
as they're
point.
going through their hiring process. But interesting, yeah. Pat's dominant showing here. They finished with the 2 seed at a 14-3 record. Moving on. This is the game that I was referring to earlier with teams that should not have been benching their players. I'd like to ask you for why you think that they did this, but Commanders beating the Eagles 24-17 here in Week 18. Why were the Eagles benching their starters? They win this game, and the
They're the
Lions
two
beat the
seed.
Bears. They're the 2 seed.
Yeah, and I'll
Yep.
tell you what, I'd much rather be playing the Packers than the Niners.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sucks. That being said, I was kind of excited for it, as you mentioned with Lance. Like it's nice to see the other guys again, and especially when they're going up against number ones. I wanted to see McKee. There's been rumors the last few years that we would move him because he's played so damn well in the preseason. So this gives him an opportunity to play against ones, and you kind of get a real feel for what he's got. And that being said, it was kind of bittersweet. He had moments of looking pretty nice, and he had moments of not looking so nice. They did play Smitty out of the gates because they wanted to get him over
Yeah.
1,000, and that happened almost immediately. That connection was pretty nice. But then once Smitty left the game, McKee definitely did struggle at times. Um, but overall, it was a decent game. I was proud we hung in there even with backups. But you could argue a lot of that Commanders team is pretty weak. Would be backups on a lot of teams. So would have been nice to get the win there. I did pick us to win, even though we were playing backups. I thought we could still beat this team. But yeah, we fell short, and I think that is part of why we did this. Is they thought, why risk injury? We can win this game without our starters, which may come across as arrogant, but I think the team's health meant more to them than to risk playing them and losing guys come playoff time.
I
Like you're
and
already
I
shooting.
think that is a
Um,
crazy line of thinking.
Yeah,
Crazy
I
line of
agree.
thinking.
I think it's dumb. I'm just trying to rationalize why they did this because it doesn't make sense when you can move and you can better your team. Like, and think about the Eagles specifically. when the Eagles are home in the playoffs, that is such an advantage. Like it's an advantage for any team, but there's probably 5 or 6 teams where it's like a little extra. And the Eagles are one of those teams. And you just sacrifice that. Like you're not getting that now. And yeah, you have a much tougher first matchup. You got to play the freaking Niners over the Packers, who are banged up. I mean, both teams are, but yeah, it's very upsetting. And I thought the Bears
Uh,
were going to win and it wouldn't have mattered, but Lions get it done. And we're playing backups when we should be playing starters and getting the freaking 2 seed. But which I
yeah,
mean, I
I
think
mean,
it's a pretty safe bet. I think we all can agree if we played starters, we win this game. So, and that just kind
yeah,
of adds an extra sting to it. But yeah,
yeah.
I
I
can't
would
really
say,
rationalize why they did it.
yeah. I mean, I think any reason you give is the Visionist history. I think that they accepted losing this game. They're really. I don't accept. I don't buy
Well, and you can't play
them
scared.
thinking.
Like I
Yeah,
hate that.
exactly. I mean, you can't. Yeah, I don't buy we thought we could win with our backups anyways. I don't buy that for a second. There is definitely no way that played any part in this final decision. It absolutely, like I honestly, I can't even try to rationalize it
Yeah,
because it
I
makes no
the
sense to
only
me. And I'll be as
sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, you please, please.
I was just gonna say the only thing that I can somewhat see is the whole we wanted to be healthy, because that's one thing. Like the Eagles have been so frustrating this year and so inconsistent, but overall we've been pretty damn healthy, which adds to the annoyance. Like we should have fucking ran away with this season, but um, yeah. So I think maybe that's why we want to roll into this thing healthy, but it's dumb. You hurt your team. You totally hurt your team. Why would you not want the 2 seed? Why would you not want to play a weaker team in the Packers? Why would you not want guaranteed another home game? Like it really makes no sense. I don't know if it's because in the past we've had the privilege of resting starters the last week and they liked the way that worked. Everyone was well rested for
Yeah.
the playoff game. Like I don't it's tough to rationalize
But
this. It really makes
with
you don't
who
see
was
this.
getting, but who was getting the 7 versus 6 seed was enough of a difference for me that you can't care about that. Like
Yeah,
the Packers, in my
I
opinion, are
agree.
nowhere near the
There's a
49ers. So
teams
it
do
just,
not do this. Like we've both watched
yeah,
fucking 40 years if we combine it of football. Like
yeah.
teams are not doing this. Like it's really a puzzler.
Last thing I'll say about this is like they won't just because y'all won last year. But if I'm Jeffrey Lurie and you guys go and lose this game to the 49ers, I would genuinely have to think hard and long about Nick Sirianni's job as head coach. I'm so
Uh,
serious.
well,
I'm so
and you
serious.
say we won't, but we did it to Doug. And that was the year after our
That's
first
fair.
ever Super Bowl. Granted, much different season that followed, but this one hasn't been great. And yeah, it's bad, and we see it time and time again. We've talked about it a lot with our college, with the long extended breaks before these playoff matchups. But teams don't necessarily play better with a week off, and the Eagles
Yeah.
were kind of figuring shit out. Like the offense was still hit or miss, but we were winning games against good teams. So it's, I mean, if you killed all that momentum and now you got to build it against the freaking Niners, it's going to be a tough go.
Yeah, winning games against good teams. Josh Allen pissed me off missing that throw for the 2 point conversion. Just gotta say that. Now, from
Yeah,
2 weeks
it
ago,
was,
I know that's a little bit in the past, but that was
well, it was
ridiculous.
wide open.
But
I think
it was wide
he
open.
saw the freaking photos being taken, this magical moment, and just biffed it.
Yeah. Anyways, we got 2 games left here before we move on to them. One, I do want to jump back to a previous team we talked about. I forgot to mention it here, but for the Raiders, Pete Carroll is out.
Oh,
I think
yes.
that is a very interesting move. Very interesting move. First year here for Pete. I mean, it was terrible, obviously. But Geno sucked. Like he was terrible
Yeah.
for them. And I don't know if I'm out on Pete Carroll after 1 year here if I'm the Raiders, to be honest with you. I guess I can understand their line of thinking maybe they want some new young blood, but
Well,
I can't I don't know
what did
about
they
this.
expect is the question I keep
Yeah.
asking myself. Like, you get a guy like Pete Carroll and you give him 1 year and it doesn't work out when you're the dumpster fire Raiders. Like, what did
Yeah,
you want him to do? Like, I don't understand. Like, this shouldn't
I
have
don't know,
been
man.
like, holy crap, we have the worst record in the league. How did this happen? Like, it shouldn't be that surprising. And I
Yeah,
don't,
but
I
with a
don't get
team
it.
like that, you have to give at least a year leash. You have to. You
Yes,
have
I
to.
agree.
Would you expect magic?
Yeah,
Like, did you actually expect to compete in this AFC West? Hell
yeah,
no.
it makes
You're
no sense.
easily the worst team. So I just really that's what I think that's the one I really out of everybody that got fired. Actually, I can't even say that. There's another one we'll talk about
Yeah,
here in
it's
a
next.
moment. But yeah, not next. We got one more game before, but that'll be quick. But yeah, so second, number two of the coaches have been fired,
Yeah.
and very
It's
confusing. But yeah, so
disrespectful to a guy
I
with a
agree.
resume like that. It's a slap in the face, and I
I
don't
mean, look
like
at what
that.
Sean Payton in the Broncos situation. He had a terrible first year.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's a
look at
good
him now.
equivalent.
Look at him now.
Yep.
So crazy, crazy. But anyways, let's talk about our last two games here. First up, we got the Jets taking on the Bills, and I think to nobody's surprise here, the Jets got steamrolled by Bills. Bills finishing with a 12-5 record, nabbing the sixth seed in the AFC, and the Jets grabbing the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. I think both happy with the outcome of this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jets are going to use their 1 year leash. They didn't expect miracles. They know what's up.
Yeah, they didn't expect miracles. I think you have to let them start year two probably, but also I feel like the Jets should have been better than they were.
Yeah, I
This
would
that
agree.
like that's what I would say. But we'll see. And I just don't believe it's well documented on the pod. I'm not a big Aaron Glenn guy, so I just don't think that it'll work out for him as a head coach. I don't think it really worked out for him as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
So
it's fair.
that's a topic for
Dude,
another day. But I do think
it is
he'll get
amazing what a good
another
ass
year.
record does for your coordinators. Like,
I
they don't
know.
even look at the X's and O's. They're just like, holy shit, you were a good team. I want you.
Yep. I know. It's like where's research gone, man? Where has been
Yeah.
finding the
It's the
diamonds
same
in the
with
rough?
Gannon, another fallen soldier. But
Another fallen soldier. It's very
yeah, it's
true.
like,
Yeah. Then let's move on to the Sunday night game. All the
what a
marbles in
banger.
the AFC North. What a great way. Game 272 to end the NFL regular season. The Ravens traveling to Pittsburgh for the AFC North title and the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Only one of them was making it. They needed to win to be in, or they were out. There was no wild card spot up for grabs for the loser here. This game started off as you would have expected for a classic Ravens Steelers game. Oh my goodness, a defensive showdown, mistakes, some fun plays, a tough
Yeah.
fought, gritty game. And then the fourth quarter happened.
Yeah.
Really like the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
if we're being honest here. And just this game
Oh,
exploded.
yeah.
It went crazy.
Blown
Zay Flowers long
coverages,
touchdowns.
slippages.
Yep,
It was all
yep.
kinds of
Like
stuff.
as I said, Zay Flowers long touchdown. Calvin Austin pretty long touchdown. Driving back down the field, and this is really what I want to hammer home. First off, Chris Boswell missing an extra point, crazy. Don't see that often
Absolutely
from one of the
crazy.
most reliable kickers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like writing might have been on the wall there. Ravens get the ball back. They're driving, doing pretty well. At the 45 or so of the Steelers, get a penalty, knock them back, puts them in a tough position. 3rd and 8, nothing going. 4th and 8, long pass to Isaiah Likely, and a great catch by him to
Awesome catch.
put the Ravens at the 23-24. Something like that. 13 seconds left on the clock. Clock is stopped. Clock is not rolling. No, sorry. They waited. Maybe it was they waited to take their timeout. They had 1 clock left, and they
Mm-hmm.
get to the line with 13 seconds. No, they need. Sorry. Jeez,
Yeah.
my mind is going. I'm just so mad about the decision here.
It was dumb.
That I just can't. It's crazy. Okay, clock is stopped at 13 seconds. Okay? Ravens get up to the ball. They kneel with 13 seconds and a timeout left, losing more yards
Mm-hmm.
from where they were at, settling for like a 44-yard field goal in one of the toughest places to kick in the NFL.
Yep.
Wizard of Boz is an exception. He has that place down to a science. But
Right.
Three River
And
Stadium
he just
is
missed.
very,
He just missed an
very
extra
hard.
point.
Exactly.
And they're
Very,
gonna
very difficult place
so
to kick. And
dumb.
you settle for this. How do you not run a play to try to get some yards? It's first
Yeah.
and 10. You're not risking anything. Even if you take a quick fucking 3 yard out, man, that's 9 more feet. That's
Mm,
3 yards less you are asking of your rookie kicker.
right.
Rookie
Instead, they
kicker.
take him back 2 to 3 yards. So
Yeah.
dumb.
Like I could not fathom the decision there. And as soon as he made that little baby ass decision, I knew he was missing.
I knew it
Rookie.
too.
Like it
It
was
was
never a
so
question in my
weird.
mind.
But
was
it should
never
have
a question
been.
in my mind. Yeah.
like Loop had a good year, and he's been very consistent from inside 50. And I just
Karma,
freaking
man.
knew it. I was like, he's going to miss this. I just had a feeling. And
Karma, bro.
honestly, kind of wanted it too. I wanted him to miss. I wanted the Steelers to pull this off. I don't know if that got in the way, but I totally felt it too. And I thought I was insane. Hearing you say that made me so happy. Because I fucking
No,
knew
like
it
as
too.
soon as they babied out and made the decision to kneel and lose yards on what was already a 40+ yard field goal, ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
toothless.
And you said
Toothless
it,
decision.
karma, dude. Karma rears its head in football all the frickin' time. And even the refs
Absolutely.
can generate you bad karma. They gift you too many times, you know something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I just couldn't believe it. And then this leads to what I was alluding to earlier, the most interesting decision in terms of head coach when it comes down to this is John Harbaugh. Been there for 18 seasons. Him and Mike Tomlin going head to head many, many times. No longer the head coach of the
Sad.
Baltimore Ravens. What do you think when it went into that decision? Why do you think they thought it was time for Harbaugh to leave and that they'll be better off without him?
I mean, I think they know. The only thing I kept thinking of is Andy Reid with the Eagles. Because Andy was already one of the best coaches in the league, like without a doubt, not even without, or even with not winning with the Eagles. But it was just, it's gone on for 15 years or whatever. Like, it's just time for a change. And I have to believe that's what's going on here, because he is without a doubt one of the best coaches in the league, one of the best coaches I've ever seen. And it's puzzling. It's still, even with that in the back of my mind, like that this kind of thing has happened before. It's very puzzling. And I also think it's the Ravens were similar to the Lions in that they had one of the best rosters in the league, and you're
Yep.
not in playoffs. And I think that played a role here, and just the past playoff history, them not getting it done. But the only thing that really bothers me with that is I don't remember Harbaugh costing them these playoff games. Like, it came down
Yeah.
to execution every single time. It wasn't on Harbaugh. And I think they definitely made a mistake as for recent future. Now, this could work out similar to how it did with the Eagles, and down the road, now you're winning a Super Bowl and you're showing up in them regularly. Like, it could be one of those things, but immediate future, this without a doubt hurts this team. This team, you might as well cut everyone, get rid of it, and just clean
Does it?
flush,
I was
because
going to ask.
you're not going
Does
to
it
be able to.
allude to Lamar leaving Baltimore?
It totally does. It totally does. I don't think you can insert a coach into this team and him have them play better than Harbaugh had them play. No way. Because there's not a coach available that even sniffs Harbaugh. Like, there's just not. And I looked once as I was doing my notes just to see where I put him in our preseason rankings. I had him third, which I still think is fair. Just Tomlin and Andy ahead of him.
That's fair.
And Yeah, it's just crazy. Like a top 3 coach in this league just gone, wiped
No, it
away.
is crazy how quick it
And
happens, man.
it really is. And the team, as I mentioned, so talented. Like, why would you not try and roll it back? I know you kind of have with this a similar group for 3 years now, but it's still just it's mind blowing. And I'm sure you saw it too, the alert that came out a little bit after. Freaking 7 teams have called Harbaugh's agent already. 7
It's
teams.
everybody who doesn't have a head coach right now.
It's everybody who doesn't have a head coach
Every
right now.
single one.
Yeah.
Every single
Like you
one. There
think
are
you
7.
so yeah, you think the Ravens fucked up? Yeah, I think so. But we'll see. Like I said, if it's similar to the Eagles thing, it's worth it. Like I'm not mad that we don't have Andy Reid anymore. But I
Yeah,
was for a
we'll
while,
see.
and I'm sure they will be for a while.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, I'm very interested to see what it means for Lamar in Baltimore. I think you're right. I don't think it's a definitive, but I think this means that they're genuinely thinking about it.
Yeah.
What can they get back for Lamar? And
Hmm.
unfortunately for them, it would be a bad time. Like his value is a little bit low right now with how he performed the back half of this season.
You're
Because
right. They're
he,
still going to get a boatload, but it's
unfortunately,
not what it would have
oh
been if they
yes,
sold him at his peak.
because I'd say Lamar, in my opinion, is actually the primary reason they are not going to the playoffs this year. His play in the back half of the season after he came back from injury, I think is the primary reason they are
Yeah,
not playing this week.
it is. And I would have said it had we had an episode last week, but I actually wanted them to play Huntley in this game. And after watching the game, I don't think Lamar cost them this game. But
Not this
I
game. I
would
agree.
agree with you that the back end of this season looked as bad as it did mostly because of him. And things were starting to look better with Huntley. I don't know if they were dumbing it down or just getting back to basics or what it was, or just a guy not trying to be Superman playing quarterback. Um, like we've seen that with Josh Allen so many times too. Like there's a thing which is doing too much that can hurt you. And I think we were
Well, I
seeing that
agree.
from Lamar. And yeah, I would have wanted Huntley, but like I said, I don't think Lamar hurt them in this game. And it was an amazing game. What a great game to end the regular season on.
Oh yeah, and I think that I do think this last game, the defense and Harbaugh's decision did cost them the game. The last point I'll make before we move on to make our wild card round picks here is: did you see the replay of Tyler Loop's missed field goal by chance?
No.
The Steelers absolutely should have been flagged for sure, and he
Oh,
should have gotten the kick
leverage?
again. Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
I
It was
watched it live.
bad.
I watched it when I watched it live. I thought that immediately because you could see the one guy coming up over the top.
Oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't look at a replay. I was too busy freaking out. I was on a Perk Rogers run all night. Like every nice play, it was Perk Rogers, baby. So I was busy
that's fair.
celebrating, missed the replay. But yeah, live, I thought I saw some leverage action going on.
Yeah, Lamar tweeted about it too. It was really obvious. It was a bad miss by the
Yeah,
umpires, but refs. What am I saying? To be crossing over with baseball, you got the baseball hat on, and they're just thinking about
which is
umpires.
very
But
ugly, by the
yeah,
way.
this is a fucking fantastic cat. I don't know what the hell you're talking about that. Anyways, let's talk playoffs here.
Woo!
Actually, before we do that, let me
Oh,
give you the recap on our regular season picks. This is over. Year 2 is over. You could have guessed it. I basically conceded like 4 or 5 weeks ago. Um,
yeah.
Chris got me this year. We are now 1-1 in our first 2 years on the pod making picks. Chris did me in this year. Got me by 9. I finished 168 out of 272. You could say it's 168 out of 271, depending on how you want to count the tie. Um, since really nobody was wrong or right. It's really just a weird middle ground.
That's
When
fair.
comparing to the ESPN experts, they did not count that game. So I took that away when
Cool.
comparing. But I finished 168 out of 271 of talking ESPN experts side. Frisch finishes 177 out of 271. 62% for me, 65.3% for Chris. I think both of us probably would have came out net positive if we bet $10 on each of these games throughout the year. So just going to throw that out there. When we're looking at the ESPN experts, I did make up ground. 6-5 to finish the year against the ESPN
Nice.
NFL experts. Not as good as I did last year, but I did beat the majority. Chris does finish 11-0, but it was dicey.
Oh, thank
It
God.
was
I was
dicey.
nervous, dude. I wanted
We
that
had, we had a
bad.
boy get 176. There
Wow.
wasn't anybody else particularly close. I think 173 was the next closest. But was a man who went on a little bit of a hot streak, finishing with 176. I will say I am proud of my second half turnaround. I really was struggling in the first half of this year making these picks. So I'm glad I went on a little bit of a streak here. And when you look at
Oh
these
yeah.
experts, we're right there with them, and you were ahead of them this year. And this year in the NFL, as we've noted, was just really, really, really weird, which is why we watch. It's
Yeah.
so unpredictable.
It's great.
But let's make our picks for this wild card round. These will not count towards our overall record. We'll probably just talk shit to each other and who was
Yeah.
right. Um, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But we've got the Rams and the Panthers kicking it off for us. Panthers got the Rams earlier this year. And I think that's unfortunate for the Panthers. I think it's a hungry young team, and if they're playing somebody who they hadn't already beat, I might have picked them. I do not think that the Rams give them any chance here to sweep them. I think the Rams win this one pretty handily.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm going Rams here, and that's a good point. And I mean, I would pick them either way. Like I said, I think the Rams are one of the best teams in the whole league. But yeah, for the Panthers to beat them twice, I don't think so. And another thing to take into account here, the Panthers already won their Super Bowl that was making the playoffs.
That's
Everything,
so
I mean,
true.
not to say they're not going to try and win this game, but they're already content with where it's at. The Rams, they're looking for a further run than just the first round. So, yeah, I'm going Rams.
Yeah. All right. And I will just say these picks really had me twisted based on who I ended up picking here for some of these games. I gotta say, just with
It
how
wasn't
weird
easy.
things ended
Which
out.
also, before we go any further, let me just quick rattle off the seeds. So in the
Fair enough.
NFC, 1 seed, we got the Seahawks. They got a bye week this week. 2 seed Bears, 3 seed Eagles, 4 seed Panthers, 5 seed Rams, 6 seed 49ers, 7 seed Packers. Then over to the AFC, Broncos got the 1 seed. They are on bye. 2 seed Patriots, 3 seed Jags, 4 seed Steelers, 5 seed Texans, 6 seed Bills, and the 7 seed the Chargers.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Thank you. I did skip past that part. I was excited to give all three of them
Oh, of
recap.
course. I'm ready
But
too,
let's move
brother.
on. We've got 5 more games. 5 more games. It's not as many games. So this is where it gets fun too, because you can just watch every single
Oh,
game,
I
the
love
whole
it.
game. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
As much as I
It's
love Red Zone,
amazing.
we do miss so much.
I know. It's great. Packers taking on the Bears in Chicago. I got Chicago here. I think they win a playoff game. I believe in
Hey.
Ben.
Hell yeah. I hope you're right. And this is part of why I'm so mad at the Eagles for benching backups. Because as you know, Bears being my third favorite team, really didn't want them to play Green Bay. We know the history there. They have beaten them now, uh, once last year, once this year, but I still think the curse is lingering. So I'm going with the Packers here. Bears young squad, first playoff run with Caleb, first playoff run with Ben Johnson, all that. I think they'll have a similar start to last week, slow offensive start out of the gates, and I think they're going to be playing from behind, which they honestly have a lot of this year, but I think it'll be extra tough in the playoffs against the rival in the Packers. So I'm going Packers.
That's fair. That's fair. That was one of the tough ones. Then we got
Yeah.
the Bills traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. We talked about
Oh,
it earlier, but I think a very unfortunate matchup for the
oh, it's so
Jaguars here.
annoying.
Such a good team, and I can't pick against Josh Allen, man. I can't do it. I got the Bills here.
Dude, this should be the AFC Championship game. I am so annoyed. this would be my AFC Championship game if the seeding allowed it. It is
Yeah,
very upsetting. I think this is Josh Allen's year to lose. I mean, nobody's in his way. He doesn't have to worry about Lamar. He doesn't have to worry about Patrick. He doesn't have to worry about Shiesty. Like, it's all right there for him. And that being said, I'm taking the Jags. They've been so consistent. I mentioned it earlier, and the Bills are one of those teams that have not been, and the Jags just have been. And I feel like I'm probably gonna be wrong here, but I'm gonna ride the wave.
that's fair. That's fair. Then we've got the 49ers taking on the
Yeah,
Eagles.
birds.
This is going to be another one we've got different. I got the 49ers here. I mean, the Eagles just have been so unconvincing to me all year long. I told you earlier how I felt about how this Niners team has played, especially down the stretch, far this Week 18. Really tough offensive game against the Seahawks. I really like what they're doing right now ever since they got Kittle back. I I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game, but I got the 49ers. If the Eagles could pull a 180 and figure out how to play offense again,
Yeah, that
I
would be
just don't think
nice.
so.
That would be nice. I did pick the Eagles. You are correct. We're gonna have it different. But yeah, I think it could certainly go the other way. The Eagles have really been inconsistent, but not on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they can squeak by this round just with how good their defense has been playing. And it's been even better. I mean, Carter, we got him back after his cleanup surgery on his shoulders. He looked like a different man in week 17. He looks like the Carter of old, and it's so nice to have him back and healthy. Like I said, the one good thing with us resting starters last week, everyone's gonna be healthy. We should be getting Lane Johnson back, which will be huge as well. I think we can just squeak by this one, but I'm gonna need major convincing from that offense if I'm gonna keep sipping Homer juice. I gotta say, because I and I mentioned it earlier, we definitely disagree on the Niners, but I think there's some weak teams in this NFC that somehow managed to make playoffs in a year where the NFC was an extremely strong conference. And I think the Niners are one of those teams. I think the Packers are also one of those teams, and as I mentioned earlier, would have much rather be playing them. And even for my Bears' sake, I think that's a friendlier matchup too, them playing the Niners instead of the Packers. But yeah, I just think we can get by this one with our good defensive play, and we just got to do enough with the offense. But yeah,
We'll see.
if we don't 180, it's not going to be a deep run for the Birds.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's kind of like I can't necessarily. I don't know. I'd have to be in that position to make that call. I can't say that I would say anything different if the Lions were in this same situation as the Eagles
Yeah, it'd
here.
be cool if you
And
were,
again,
because it'd be similar.
I'd reiterated like I think earlier this is that the Eagles definitely have the talent on their roster, but
Yeah.
just like the Lions, I think the Eagles have been a weak team this year. I think they've been worse than the 49ers. Their talent level is higher. I will buy that. I will not argue
Oh
that
yeah, it'd be
for
silly
one
not
second.
to.
But I think that the Niners have been better. I simply think they've been better. So we'll see. But like you said, we disagree on that. We'll let it play out on the gridiron this weekend.
Yeah,
We got two games left here. Chargers taking on the Patriots. This one was really tough for me. I actually went
yeah.
back and forth on this one a lot. And I settled for another underdog. I got the 7 seed Chargers upsetting the Patriots in round one here.
Yeah, this one was very tough, and I also went back and forth. I mentioned it the last few weeks. I think the Patriots are kind of fake. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're, all that. But kind of similar to the Eagles, I think they can survive this round just with the matchup they got. I think the Chargers are still banged up. They have gotten a little healthier, but overall, I'm not too convinced with how they've played. They've kind of been inconsistent themselves. The Pats have been pretty consistent, whether they're benefiting from an easy schedule or just firing at the right time, which is pretty much all damn year. But yeah, I'm going with the Pats, but yeah, don't get it twisted. I don't think there's a deep run for the Pats this year.
That's fair. And we got one game left here. We've got the Texans traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And this one was a really tough one for me.
Yeah.
On paper, I'm going Texans all day. But the Steelers do have the playoff Aaron Rodgers factor. And that's a big factor. And they get DK Metcalf back after his suspension. That's not a nothing burger for sure. But ultimately, I did go Texans here. I think that defense got slapped around last week. I'm not sure that they'll let that happen 2 weeks in a row. And the Steelers' offense, while there is the Aaron Rodgers factor, and he could definitely figure it out, uh, they haven't been amazing.
Mm,
So I got Texans here, meaning I've picked 5 out of 6 games for the underdogs.
yeah. Shows you how tight it is. And honestly, all these games except for Rams Panthers, I think, are complete coin flips. And this one included in that. I do want to give you kudos for bringing up DK because you're so right. You can't really put in the words how important he is for this Steelers team. The offense has really, really struggled without him. And even just Calvin Austin coming back last week for the Ravens game, that was huge for them too. They need DK, they need Austin, they need these receivers healthy for Rodgers to do what Rodgers does, and that's Percocets and win games. But I do agree with you. I think the Texans defense is just too much. And I think another team, again, kind of similar to the Eagles, they can get by this first round with just really, really good defensive play. But as you mentioned, they got to actually show up because they did struggle last week against a rookie quarterback and Riley Leonard. But yeah, I think the Texans will survive.
Yeah. Alrighty, Chuckheads, this wraps up another episode of Palm City Chucks. Welcome to the NFL playoffs, my
Woo!
friends. We cannot wait to be back with you next week discussing what happens in these playoff games. In-depth analysis to come. As we said, we will be watching every minute
All of
of
it.
every one of these games. It's going to be awesome. Please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think and we'll talk with you next week. Enjoy your football.
Later, PCC!